Oh, there's children.
Today, we're going to be spending 72 hours on Jeju Island, aka Korea's Hawaii. With warm climate all year round, it's a place filled with amazing seafood, black pork, and we definitely can't forget about some dessert either. It's some of the best food you'll ever find in Korea, and I'm here today to be your guide so you can eat like a local. This is Jeju Island for 72 hours.
It's a little chilly today. The weather here in Jeju is very volatile. That's okay because we have some hot soup and noodles. And we're gonna get mollusk kalguksu. So mollusk are those little itsy bitsy little things that stick onto the surface of rocks. And I know it looks freaky. It's basically the little snails of the ocean. It's going to be the best. Let's go. It's giving me a little bit of like Santorini vibes as well as Jeju vibes, and I feel like this is like the perfect cozy place to start your first meal here in Jeju. 네. 네, 감사합니다. The lady told us to put a little bit of this homemade doenjang sauce, which is fermented bean paste, just to start off the meal. And it's common for a lot of kalguksu places, which are knife noodle places, to serve barley rice on the side. I don't know how it started, but it's cool to see a little bit of hijiki and seafood vibes incorporated even into the side dishes. And let's try. The thing with barley is that each kernels really stand out, and it feels like almost like tapioca pearls, but like harder. Wow! So we ordered a bunch of things. Let's kind of go over in sequence. This one is the mollusk kalguksu. As for the toppings, we have some thinly fried egg pancakes, scallions, carrots, and in the center of it all is mollusk. Essentially, these are the escargots of the sea. They're small, they're almost snail-like, and it adds so much flavor and brininess to the dishes. But the thing is, with these, they have to be really, really fresh, and you can really only get it from the source. And in Jeju, they really grow almost like everywhere. It's like moss. And this one is tot. So tot in Korean is hijiki, and it's this black little hairy looking things. I know it looks a little freaky, but hijiki, when you add it into soup, almost becomes gelatinous and it creates like a viscous broth. You can see the difference between the two soups. This one's a lot thicker. And you can tell from the color of the noodles that they incorporate buckwheat. And you know it because it's a little grayish and a little dark and a little earthy smelling, but in the best way possible. And look how juicy these noodles look. The hijiki definitely adds a little bit of brininess back to the dish and really kind of gives you that punch of like ocean taste in a really, really nice way. So much flavor. It's really hot. A little bit of noodles, a little bit of hijiki topping. It's briny, it's salty. The hijiki definitely almost acts as like the caviar of the sea. And the texture on it is really nice. It's a little slippery, but it also pops as you like bite more into it. It was great. It was really great. Oh, I'm gonna try the mollusk one now. Topping it off with a little bit of kimchi. And this is the same, whether it's mainland or on the island. We all love kimchi. And this is really a dish that you can only get here in Jeju Island, so you should try it when you come. A little bit of sesame oil on this one really ties like the brininess and the smell of the buckwheat all together so well.
Really good. Fresh.
So this one is pomai juk. So juk is our kanji. It's rice and water really thinned out to create like an oatmeal consistency. You can see that it's green, and the greenness of the juk comes from the innards of the mollusks. I have to say, I love noodles, but I'm always forever going to be a rice girly. And this one next to me, slightly more yellowish in color. This one is the abalone. So you can see on top all the ridges of the abalone, and it's also one of the things that Jeju provides in abundance. It's really a delicacy that you can get here in Jeju for such a cheap price. Like if you get this in mainland, you're not gonna be able to get this for $13. Like this is easily gonna cost you $25, $30, but because it's Jeju, it's really cheap and super fresh. In Korea, you're required to state where you get each ingredients from. But not only do they state that it's all from Korea, they state that it's from Jeju and which village even. 아, 너무 맛있어요. Simple, homey, great food. Great start to Jeju. So there's three things that Jeju is famous for. One, rocks because essentially Jeju was created by one big volcanic eruption from Mount Hala, which is now dormant, and it created all these porous rocks that are black, and that's indigenous to Jeju. Second is wind, because we're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and it gets quite windy here. And the third is women. And you might be wondering, why women? And I'm gonna explain a little bit more as we walk along the coast, some of the history behind Jeju and why haenyeo, which is sea women, have started emerging. These women who free dive essentially for seafood have started as a vocation here. We're also going to try some of the fresh catches of modern day haenyeos tomorrow. So we're in Wollyeong-ri Cactus Village, and this is the start of an Olle trail. You know the Olle trails from this ribbon right here. So there's a total of, I think, 13 Olle trails, and I used to hike all of these for my little Girl Scouts honor. And it's one of my favorite places because it's kind of the only place on earth where you're gonna see cactus, beautiful volcanic rocks, and crystal blue ocean all in one place. And in the background, you're gonna see all these windmills making renewable energy because that's the future. Vote for me. Jeju for Koreans is the Hawaii of Korea. And when a lot of people visit, like when I would meet patrons at Mija Seoul and they're visiting Korea for a week or so, everyone's asking like, is it really worth it to come to Jeju? 100%. Jeju is so different from the rest of Korea, and the focus is much more on nature and the ocean and the seafood. It's also a place that I spent my middle school years. I actually went to an international school here in Jeju for 2.5 years before transferring over to America. Jeju has a very, very special place in my heart. I didn't appreciate it enough when I was in middle school because I was like, I'm a city gal! Now that I'm older and I'm revisiting Jeju, it just reminds me of so many teenage memories. I used to camp out here and I had so many pimples, and the boy that I liked didn't like me back, so a lot of these memories are coming back to me. Look! Sorry. So the mascot of Jeju Island is Dol Harubang. Dol means rock and Harubang means grandfather, and it is this statue right here. Can you guess what it is supposed to be? It's actually supposed to be a penis. Women would pray to the Dol Harubang statue, wanting fertility and baby because men were scarce.
And the reason why men were scarce also ties into why many women in Jeju started freediving to catch seafood. During the Japanese colonial period, many of the island's men were sent to work in internment camps and women were left to fend for themselves. Catching seafood by freediving was a means of making ends meet with little to no equipment, but now haenyeos have become this emblematic symbol of Jeju that gets a lot of tourist attraction, and this interest is great because it's allowed a lot of young people to keep the tradition alive.
Shall we go in for a cup of green tea? Cup of green tea! So another thing that's very famous in Jeju are the green tea fields. And all this greenery, it's a tea plantation. And these are the more mature leaves, and when they sprout new young leaves, that's like the sweet, really nice herbal green tea flavors. And we're gonna be trying some desserts because I have a sweet tooth. How beautiful is that? Wow, I sound like Ina Garten just now. Matcha ice cream, topped up with a matcha glaze, house-made red bean paste, and a matcha bingsu using organic matcha right from the source. Like literally, this is window to table, not even farm to table. It's like 2 steps to table. I don't know why I'm blowing on it. Actually, the beans are really good. Like the matcha is great, but the beans are really, really good too. Because usually, like it's so hard to find homemade red bean paste like anywhere you go when you order shaved ice in Korea. But this papbingsu is legit. It's super legit. And it's like, I love how there's like matcha in different layers and forms. Like you get that matcha flavor from the shaved ice. You also get that matcha flavor from the ice cream, as well as the glaze on top. Like that really kind of punches it in. 3 different layers of matcha flavors all in one with the red bean paste kind of tying it all together cohesively with that nice creaminess. And then here we have our matcha latte, and just like that, it turns into Shrek vomit color. It's so nice. It's sweet. It has that like nice like bitter green tea notes to offset some of the sweetness. I think that's the reason why Koreans like red bean paste and like matcha. Why? You already know what I'm gonna say. Not too sweet. And we also have some 귤 정과 on the side. So these are tangerine peels that's been simmered in syrup. And the thing with tangerine peels is that it has that nice like bitterness that, you know, you can't really eat it when it's not cooked down, but when it's simmered in syrup, that bitterness with a little bit of that effervescent orange liqueur smell works really, really well with the hot sugary syrup. I'm gonna wash it off with a little bit of warm matcha. This is the green tea at its truest form. Grassy, herby, bitter, complex, and a little sweetness at the end. I feel so at ease right now. The Zen life. It chose me, and I chose it. You know those like IG boyfriend ones where you like hold the hand and then... 안녕, Doobies! Oh, there's children. This is one of the reasons why I love Jeju. The weather, it's mysterious. Like it gets foggy most of the times of the year because it's surrounded by the sea and there's a lot of humidity, so weather is going to be a little volatile. It's very almost British in a sense, but not in a bad way. And it just creates this like nice, eerie, weird Twin Peaks vibes that I love, but it also makes me very hungry for some Jeju black pork barbecue. Does the two have anything in common? I'm not sure, but let's find out if the pork tastes better in this kind of weather. It's really in the middle of nowhere. Oh, hi. Oh, hello. And it looks like an abandoned school building, but there's something very special about this place. And you're gonna see the reason why I chose this place over some of the big conventional buildings. Viva, let's go eat. 감사합니다. 네, 감사합니다. 네. Whoa, it's like a barrage of panchans just flowing in, as it should be. As soon as you sit down, it's just like bam, 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 bam. Everything just kind of like flows out and you're just like met with so many side dishes. So the thing you have to eat when you're in Jeju is black pork. And the reason why we eat black pork in Jeju is because it's a breed that's indigenous to Jeju Island and it's gonna be pricier than your normal pig. The normal conventional pig that you eat is going to be big and fat and pink, just like something else I know. My mom don't know, poor woman. It yields a lot of meat, but bigger is not always the better when it comes to meat. There's just no way around it, honestly. There's just no way around it. I can't. And for black pork, it's gonna be smaller, it's gonna be hairier, but it's gonna be tastier. My mind is in the gutter. Like, I really can't. Kimchi, pickled garlic clove, pickled perilla leaves, pickled onion. Here we also have some pickled radish, lettuce, obviously. Garlic, samjang, which is our soybean paste, but a little sweeter. And we can't forget about the Korean salad, which is just green onion salad called pache. Like, look at that thick slab. And I know some people might get freaked out about the stamp on the side, but it's a seal of quality. The strength of the charcoal is crazy. And this is king oyster mushrooms that's being put on top. You can sense the amount of pride that they have for their meat. What he explained are meat sommelier. I don't know what the word would be. Black pork takes a longer time to grow than conventional pig. It's also smaller as well, so the yield is lower. It takes time to eat good food, mature, and grow. Flavor comes with time. And for Jeju style barbecue, as opposed to normal conventional Korean style barbecue, the biggest difference lies in this secret container right here. You'll see in a second what it is. Usually the mushroom is the last thing that I would grab for, but here it looks really good. I'm glad we came early though, because there's a lot of people coming in and it's only like 5 o'clock, so we definitely got in early. What's probably working the hardest out of all of us is this ventilation system here, really sucking up all the air. I'm gonna just try the first piece, just as is, to really taste it. Our grill master is onto something. Like, see how thick this cut of meat is? Like, it's massive. Like this is much bigger than what I would be able to chew. Even though my teeth are big, as iPads, as my mom liked to call it, there's a limit. There's a limit as to what it can chew through. And this is definitely on the bigger end. When I put it into my mouth, it really is so tender and juicy, and you can taste the difference. It has a sweet nuttiness at the end, and it doesn't feel so overly unctuous and heavy, and it just melts in your mouth. It's definitely one of the best pork I've ever tried in Korea. This bite, I'm gonna dip it into Maeil. So this sauce right here is actually fish sauce. And it's fish sauce made with anchovies. This is the only place in Korea where you're gonna find fish sauce and barbecue together. It's a truly Jeju thing. And you might be thinking, ooh, like fish sauce and meat, like does it really go well together? The mix of the two is really a great harmony between land and ocean. It really represents the best of what Jeju has to offer. Wow, so special. The more you chew, the fat from the pork and the lard exudes out, ameliorating it. It becomes buttery, and that saltiness becomes one with that porky flavor. That's how it tastes. I really want to thank our grill master today. 감사합니다. 너무 맛있어요. The best Korean barbecue you'll ever have will be in Jeju. The quality of the pork, the fish sauce element itself is so special. Just this is worth making a trip down to taste it. I'm gonna wrap the next one in perilla. If I ever did well at school, when I went to school in Jeju, we'd celebrate with a little bit of black pork. Black pork is definitely a little bit more on the expensive side, so it was always our like special celebration meal. Yeah, whenever I did well in exams. Moving on to the third course of the meal. So this is soybean paste stew, which is most commonly served as a side dish. The doenjang-jjigae here has seafood. You can see the claw of the crab just sticking out, as well as some mussels. It's really incorporating the essence of fresh seafood that's available here in Jeju. Pour some on top of my rice. It's like a very light finish, and it's not one of those like really heavy umami packed doenjang-jjigaes. It's really like a light seafood finish with a really clean aftertaste at the end to really wash away the pork fat from your throat. For Koreans, rice is our dessert. You don't want to fill up on rice from the beginning because you want to eat a lot of the protein as much as possible. Come on, you're eating meat tonight. Like, you gotta stock up. Great vibes, great food, incredible hospitality, and just something very uniquely Jeju. Very special place in my heart. Let's go for a little walk. I'm feeling kind of full now. Or am I? Oh, it's okay. Okay. I just wanted to say hi. You know what? I would love to live in Jeju one day for a bit. It would be nice. So the beauty of Jeju are the small mountains called 오름. You can't even really call them mountains. It's like more like hills, and they're all byproducts of the volcanic eruption that created Jeju. It's gorgeous. It's so peaceful and tranquil and eerie. You better hold on tight, spider monkey. Bella? Bella? Bella, where the hell you've been, Loka? 안녕하세요. Come along, soldier. Don't yuck my yum. Nature's #1 wildlife killer. Good morning, Doobies! Today we're at Seogwipo Olle Maeil market. So Maeil means every day, and we're really on the southern part of the island. And Seogwipo is a place where you're gonna see beautiful coastline, great people, and obviously that means great food. This is a really fun market to come and visit because you can see how people of Jeju eat and live. But we're here specifically to get some breakfast, and it's gonna be the perfect way to start our morning. 호떡 4개 할 수 있을까요? 그리고 만드시는 거 잠깐 찍을 수 있을까요? You gotta start your morning off with something a little bit fried and a little sweet. This is not a Jeju thing, but it's a me thing. So the inside is brown sugar. Sugar. And see how the edges are puffing up? It's like almost becoming like super translucent. Like you can see the air bubbles just really rising to the top. And look how golden brown it is. This is like the Korean pancake / donut. It really looks like great buttermilk pancakes almost. It's gonna be better though, trust me. It's more airy and more like yeasted dough, so it's gonna be light and fluffy.
우리 조정에서 나도 그 이제 그 비공식 역사야 그럼.
네네.
네. 엄청 중국산을 많이 들어.
아저씨가 얼굴 말랐고.
그래가지고 호떡은 한국 기대우리고
네네.
짜장면 거고.
He was very busy telling about the history of hot dog, and she's just like, hey, shut up, I want my hot dog. She's not having it today.
하나에 얼마요?
하나 천원인데 한 개 더 주니까.
아이고 감사합니다.
And because she was waiting, he gave her 2 hot dogs, and she's happy now. Yeah. You heard the laugh. That's a laugh of a Korean that got a good deal. Oh, these look so good. 맛있겠다. Hotdog at markets, unbeatable. Light, fluffy, nice caramelized brown sugar. And I can tell that this dough is one that he made and he perfected himself, not the ones that you can get from the factories. It's so light and fluffy, but with a nice chewy, moist inside too. And also in Seoul, one hot dog is usually like $2, but here it's only $1. I want to move to Jeju. It's so cute inside. The lady, she's the chef and she's the owner, and she's like, I already have a lot of guests and I'm overwhelmed, but please come in, is what she said. This is Korea's self-serve at its best.
I'm a new assistant of this restaurant.
So we have our 고기 Gooksu, which is pork noodles. On top, 감사합니다. You get these thick slabs of boiled pork, and look how juicy this looks. Sprinkled on top is some sesame seeds, a little bit of scallion, and underneath is a red sauce. And it's gonna add a little bit of color and a little bit of spiciness to the dish. I need to try this broth because this broth smells so good. Wow. It's like a really soothing pork bone broth. The aftermath is so clean. It's not oily, it's really light and fresh, and that's the biggest difference between Japanese tonkotsu ramen and Korean gogi Gooksu. Same ingredients, but different technique. Wow, that's incredible. So we have the red sauce. Just gonna mix it around. Oh, and the noodles look so juicy. Kind of similar shape to bunbohue noodles. Round, a little plump, but ours is wheat-based. A little bit of pork. I'm gonna put kimchi. If you've ever had Korean bossam before, that's what's on top. It's braised pork, simmered on low heat, so it's incredibly tender. And the broth used from braising the meat is used also in the broth itself. It's incredible. Like the combination of the wheat noodles with the meat and the kimchi on top. Like the kimchi here is so good. So good. Sweet. I also ordered 멸치 Gooksu, and 멸치 means anchovies. Remember how the Korean barbecue we got yesterday used anchovy-based fish sauce? Anchovy is one of the biggest produce that's available in Jeju. So this is dried anchovies made into a broth, and this is really Korea's dashi stock, and we call it dashima yuksu, made with kelp, and anchovy. Flavorful, it's light, with a little bit of that salty finish coming from the kelp. So good. And the veggies on top are julienne squash, onion, and carrots. And it adds a really nice bite and a crunch to the noodles. And you get that slippery noodle with that nice clean broth that's just umami filled with a little bit of that vegetable. So good. 아, 이거 무슨 장아찌? 아, 호박잎? 아, 머위. 아, 감사합니다. 아, 괜찮아.
너무 맛있어요.
As a little 서비스, which means, you know, a little freebie on the house, she gave us 돈베고기. So it's the pork that's put on top of our gogi gooksu noodles, and it's braised pork simmered in low heat. The beauty of it is to cut it in like kind of like a whatever way. You know, it's a little mismatched, like all the cuts are going to be different, but that's kind of the beauty of it. Every bite is going to be a little different. There's some parts that are thicker and there's some parts that are thinner, like this one for example. And on the side, we're served some lettuce and you put the meat on top. And this is a vegetable called mowi, and it's kind of almost like pumpkin leaves and house-made soybean paste. And she makes everything in-house. When we were eating, she turned away so many guests because it's just her cooking alone and serving and receiving payment. So it's really like a personalized experience. When you're thinking about visiting Jeju and visiting here, just be aware it's just her. So it's gonna take a little longer. She does get a little overwhelmed. If you're patient, you're gonna get amazing noodles and one of the best that you can get in Jeju Island. The fat cap on these are amazing. And you can see from all the little black hairs that it's Jeju black pork. And she doesn't even say that it's like Jeju black pork, it's premium. It's just pork. Pork here is black pork. Delicious. The braised meat is so good, so tender, so soft, and the sauce is insane.
Amazing.
She farms these, all the veggies. She grows herself. And she went to the garden this morning and picked up a fresh harvest of the 장아찌, the pickles that we had. It's these. She has a little plot of land that she harvests from every morning. And she's like, oh, it's no biggie, you know. It's just from my garden. And I just, you know, pick it every morning. Oh, she's so cute. So cute. And she's like, that shows that people of Jeju really care about local produce and they're proud of what they serve. Wow, after.
Yeah, after. With 1:1:1 ratio.
Oh, soy, vinegar, and sugar.
Yes, right.
We're back at the market. We're gonna pick up some fruit and a little dessert to enjoy by the ocean. We're gonna walk along coastline, and it's not a true nature's walk without a little bit of snacking. 네, 감사합니다. One of the things that you need to try when you're here in Jeju is omegi떡. So it's a type of rice cake and you can get different varieties, and I'm gonna order and show you what kind that they have. She's making it over there. So this is omegi떡. Omegi is Jeju dialect for millet. It's millet infused rice cakes, and inside there's usually a filling of red bean paste, and it's circular. What they do is they get rice flour and millet powder, cook it out, and then form this rice cake, and then press a hole in the middle, fill it with different fillings, seal it up, and then you can put all these different types of powders. Like this is black sesame powder, this is soybean paste powder, this is white bean powder, some nuts, and this is whole red beans. This one looks freaky, but it's gonna be good. What's also special about their dough is that they infuse it with mugwort. So mugwort is kind of the matcha of Korea. We have matcha also, but mugwort is much more commonly used in Korean desserts because of its khaki green color. Okay, let me open this up. And they're making the rice cakes fresh, so it's warm. It's like a mosaic of all the different omegi rice cakes because it has that really nice like nutty finish. I'm gonna go for the black sesame one first. So soft and it's much lighter. Usually rice cakes are pretty dense, but this one's so light and fluffy. As you can see inside, there's red bean filling. So good. So soft, stretchy, and light. Sweetness and creaminess coming from the red bean paste filling. The soft, supple mugwort rice cake wrapped around that's slightly warm and coated with black sesame powder to really hit home that nuttiness. It's so good. What my mom actually does in the mornings is she orders like 30 of these, keeps it in the freezer, and she lightly pan fries it with a little bit of perilla seed oil. Toasty on the outside, but inside is like really soft and stretchy and nice and chewy, but it doesn't beat when it's made fresh. So I'm gonna try one more. It's gonna be the red bean encrusted umegitok. Looks wild, I know. Kind of looks like mini cockroaches, and you can see the green dough inside. I don't think that was my most elegant moment, but it was good. But the black sesame one will always forever be my favorite. This market has so many citrus stands, and what's really cool is that a lot of these are from the farmer itself. Like they have the farms and then they come out to the markets. And there's a bunch of different citrus varietals that you can get here in Jeju. There's choneyang, there's mandarins, there's baby mandarins, there's green. The varietals go crazy, but the thing that you need to try is definitely halabong. There's really nothing like it. It's like if an orange went to the gym and got steroids and started taking creatine and started balding and got really ripped, that's halabong. 안녕하세요. 저희 1kg 한라봉 하나 살게요. 요거 1kg예요?
네.
Fresh catches of the day from the haenyos. So haenyos are free diving women who dive and catch sea urchin and conch and fresh seafood like sea cucumbers. They bring it up to these restaurants and sell it, and these are places that just make sashimi with whatever fresh catches they have of the day. Not even from the ocean, and these are fresh catches of the sea. And here we have an assortment of abalone, which is the one with the very shiny shell. We also have some conch, two different kinds. There's the king conch that's really juicy and meaty, and there's also one called 꿀소라, which is the kind of the smaller version. It's a type of mollusk varietal, and they live on the rocks. And then she just cut it up, take out the intestines, and slice it thin. Here we have mungge. I don't know the English name for it because people don't eat it in the US, but I'm gonna put the official name right here. It's a little briny, and we really like to call it the foie gras of the sea because it has that really nice brininess and softness, and it's really a lot about the texture. So that's the 꿀소라. 아니야, 너무 좋아요, 너무 좋아요. And in the center of it all, we have the sea cucumber. Yes, it's going to look like the penis of the sea with a little bit of prickliness. And this too is a delicacy that we love to eat when there's fresh seafood around. And look how beautiful everything is. Look at this. And you call these places Hyeopjae Matcha. Essentially, it kind of started off initially as stage wagons off the street as like a makeshift restaurant, but now these places have become very popular places to drink. And when you have fresh seafood, you need to drink. 저희 한라산 하나 주세요. 네. 네.
순간만 계산합니다.
아, 예, 감사합니다. It's the soju that's only available in Jeju. It comes from a major soju distributor, but depending on the region, they have like specific local sojus. For this one, it's infused with Jeju barley, and you can see in the packaging the Hala Mountain, and you can see the Jeju Premium Soju written on top. Crunchy, tastes exactly like scallops. A little more briny, very good. 아세요? 두비두밥이라고 they're all asking. 그래요? 당연하죠. 네, 감사합니다. 반갑습니다.
한국 사람이에요.
Surprised that it's my mom. New friends have been made over some halasan soju, and that's the power that soju does for Korean people. We're a little shy, just don't really talk to each other that much, but with the help of soju, anything is possible. Sea cucumber looks a little freaky, very chewy, and a little bit more brinier than the abalone. If the abalone had a little more sweeter finish, this one has a little bit more briny hardness, and the saltiness is more acute. Like it really hits you, and the texture on it is really, really interesting. Again, kind of like you're gnawing through bones, but for a lot of Koreans, you want something salty to accompany your drinking, and you want it to last. So the more you chew, the more salty it becomes. And with the soju, it almost tastes like ocean version of a margarita. Really, the main point of coming to places like this is to have a good time with your friends, drink a little bit of soju, take refuge when the weather is shit. It's just cozy. And there's gonna be a real reason why I came here in just a second. You'll see. So she starts making the ramen with the conch, the abalone, and seaweed when the water's not hot yet. These take the longest time, so it needs to boil for a long time for it to really cook through and become tender. And once the water starts boiling, the abalone starts squirming because it's alive and it's getting cooked to death, which is incredibly brutal, but creates nice broth. And then she adds the noodles in with the ramen seasoning packet. And I've never had ramen with seaweed actually before. And with some of the leftover seafood from earlier, she chopped it off at the end because those don't take a lot of time to cook, along with thinly sliced octopus. This is probably the most luxurious ramen I've ever had in my life. It doesn't matter if you're eating the fanciest food on earth. We always want to end the day with ramen because it's nostalgic, it's the taste of our childhood, and it's always going to hit. And that's guaranteed. And look at the ambiance right now. Rain drizzling outside, ocean waves just hitting the rocks, and also all the older ajashis, now that they're gone, it's nice and peaceful. It's like a storm has passed. Otherworldly. The same sense that mankind has not explored the depths of the ocean yet. She's saying, please tell people to the world that people of the Songgak Mountain are very kind. Forcefully. You get this clarity in this broth only unlocked with seafood. Wow, that broth is just insane. And with a little bit of the cooked seafood, briny, crunchy, and the seaweed is so good too. Where else in the world are you gonna be able to have ramen like this, huh? Doobies, I spoil you. You know that, baby girl? You know I spoil you? You know what the Korean version of Netflix and chill is? Hey baby, you wanna come eat ramen at my place? With seafood? With sea cucumbers? To people who are listening to this only with audio, that's messed up. One of the biggest delicacies you can get here on Jeju Island is definitely mackerel sashimi. To be able to eat mackerel raw, no, not cured in vinegar or salt in any form, just fresh, is a huge flex because mackerel is one of those fishes that are a bit of a drama queen. they kind of pass out immediately right after they're caught and they die like this. So it's really hard to keep it fresh, let alone be sashimi quality. And look how fresh this is. It should have a nice shimmer coming from the natural oils that mackerel has. The red meat part of the mackerel, that's where all the fat is. And during the cold winter, it accumulates all the fat so that it can be delicious and juicy for me. Just for me, and maybe you. What I love about this place is also the range of banchan. We have some kelp, stir-fried baby anchovies with a little bit of walnut and sesame, fish cakes, kimchi, samjang with a drizzle of sesame oil and a dollop of raw minced garlic, fruit salad drenched in mayonnaise. It's more like 50% mayo, 50% fruit, but that's kind of the way we like it. We call it fruit sarada. This is the same kimchi as this one, but washed, and we call it white baekgimchi. We have some spicy green chili and garlic, and we also have mackerel fish sauce, seaweed, and this is the chomuchim. So chomuchim just refers to sour salad. It's dressed in the same sauce as chojang, the spicy sweet and sour gochujang sauce that we eat with seafood. And inside is minari, the Korean watercress, onions, green chili, and that's it. And we also have some rice, seaweed, mackerel, and a little bit of samjang. And because I'm Korean, a little bit of garlic. So fresh. It's not slimy, not fishy, and so much flavor. It honestly compares to fancy tuna. It tastes luxurious. And that's funny because mackerel is really a poor man's food. It's cheap, there's abundance of it, and you can really get it anywhere at any time. Whereas tuna is expensive and rare because it's prepared in such a fresh manner. It's absolutely delicious. Instructions as to how to eat it. The first one is to put the mackerel sashimi with a little bit of the samjang. Next is to do a layer of seaweed, a layer of rice. It's interesting also that the rice here has a little bit of millet, and it's these little yellow specks. Millet is also grown so much in Jeju, so it's really incorporating all those Jeju elements. A nice slab of the mackerel and a little bit of the chomuchim, our sour salad. The seaweed is working as almost like a wrapping paper for when you wrap a little doobie, but this time it's a morsel of seafood and sweet and sour crunchy salad. The balance between the slightly acidic rice and a bit of that sesame oil and the natural fattiness coming from the mackerel, it's beautiful. Beautiful. You really can't find this anywhere on mainland, and it's also very, very much a Jeju specialty. And there's no place like Miyoung in it that slices it really thin. All the technique is making sure that the skin is nice and beautiful, and you can't freeze it either, so it really requires great technique to be able to have such nice, beautiful, even slices like this. And what's really great about this restaurant is right over there, you can literally see the ships of where the mackerel is caught, and all these ships with the bright lights, it's to attract squid and mackerel. They're like, whoa, what is this? And then you kind of catch them up and then slice it up into my mouth. And because the mackerel sashimi is a little on the fatty side, you always want to accompany it with something like garlic or green chili to give it some freshness. And I also want to highly, highly emphasize the fact that when you're having mackerel sashimi, you want to go to a restaurant with high turnover rate. High turnover rate means that they have a good, readily supply of mackerel, and it makes sure that your fish is always going to be fresh. If your mackerel is not fresh, you'll know immediately from the stench. All that blood from the guts is not going to be good. If it tastes like butter, you know you're at the right place. Okay, we unlocked another service item along with my mom, who just appeared out of thin air. 고등어 무조림, which is braised radish with mackerel in a spicy sauce. This is kind of like a staple mom dish. Like, you really don't find this in many restaurants. I don't know why. The root vegetable here is on another level. Because the soil is surrounded by ocean water, the dirt is a little salty, and that salinity along with the nutrients from the ocean gives the radishes a completely different taste, even even when you're buying radish in mainland Korea, Jeju radish is always a little bit more expensive because it's so prized. Wow. My mom's favorite.
I want to try it.
A little bit of that saltiness from the radish brings out sweetness that it innately has. The good radish, when it's cooked properly, is very special. Trust me, it's rad-ish. Mackerel's a great fish to braise because it's so fatty and it's never ever gonna get dry. Super buttery and silky, and it's just so fatty. That's why I love mackerel so much, because it's so flavorful and so cheap. You can see the big chunks of mackerel bones when they fillet it. This is the middle piece, and instead of throwing it away, they create a house-made stock made with different grains. The type of cabbage that's used here is a baby Napa cabbage, so you want to harvest it when it's still young so that it's really nice and juicy. And mackerel is a difficult fish to make stock with because it's so oily. General rule of thumb, it's hard to make good stock with bones that are too oily. The color of the soup is quite interesting. It almost has like a speckled black and white color to it. Kind of gray, like dirty laundry water. But it smells great. Definitely not the most beautiful looking food, but oh, this is like not like what I expected at all. It tastes like soy milk, actually. It tastes like non-dairy milk. It's creamy, it's fatty, so nutty also. There's a bit of that like nuttiness that comes through at the end. I'm assuming they put a little bit of black sesame infused into it, along with the mackerel bones. Girl dinner! 스튜디오 안에. You know, like the backside of this looks like fat bald dudes, you know, fat bald dads. You know, the back of their head. Like Pitbull used to have bald head like this. I'm sure you could tell from all the Jeju tangerine memorabilia and the souvenirs that Jeju is very, very proud of its oranges. It's the only place in Korea where oranges can really grow. Like Hallabong is so unique because it's so acidic. It almost has the acidity of a lemon and the sweetness of an orange melded together. And especially in this backdrop, anything would taste great. What are we going to be doing today? Well, we're going to be looking at beautiful beaches, enjoying the nature that Jeju has provided for us. But most importantly, we're going to eat, boy. We're going to eat. Gorgeous village, huh? Yeah, we're in Gyobae, which is on the eastern side of the island, and this is a village famous for carrots. We're right in front of a carrot cafe, and they specialize in making carrot cakes and carrot juices, all using carrots that the couple farmed themselves, and I'm super excited. Also, like, the village looks like it's straight out of a fairy tale or a Korean drama. It's beautiful. It's so quiet, and the only thing you can really hear in the background is the sounds of the waves sloshing against the rock sand. It's nice. I could grow old here. And the birds are chirping away, and my mom is obsessing over a dog. So for breakfast this morning, we are gonna get some root vegetables. Carrot cake and carrot juice. This is me being a karate kid. So this is a renovated old-style Jeju house converted into a cafe, and the array of choices that they have. And we're gonna get one of everything because I cannot get enough of everything. We're having a carrot kase. We have carrot cake, carrot juice, carrot latte, carrot soup, and wholemeal carrot muffins with a little bit of carrot jam on top. I don't think I've ever had this many carrots in my life, and I'm super duper excited. Can you see the interior of this place? It's actually so damn cute. It's hard to not get violent over it. I'm gonna start with a juice. This is what success looks like in a glass. The reason why the carrots here are so much more delicious than any other carrot that you will find is because its proximity to the ocean. So the soil gets this natural salinity and the carrots also become a little bit salty, but you know how salt sometimes brings out the natural flavors? It makes food taste like itself. And that's why for every dessert, you want to put a little bit of salt so that that natural sweetness or that natural flavors will get aggrandized out. And the carrot juice is incredibly sweet. It's actually hard to imagine that there's no artificial sweetener. This is just purely coming from the sweetness of the carrot itself. Freshly cold pressed as you order, and there's really nothing like it. The owner was telling me that there is 1.5 times more carrot than flour in this cake recipe. The more cake there is, the harder it is to bake it, and it shows real technique and skill to be able to put as much carrot as possible and to bring out those natural sweetness that carrot has. So here on top is the cream cheese frosting, and with a little bit of naked walnuts crushed gently on top. You get this like nice strong scent of cinnamon and sweetness coming from the carrots. Wow, incredibly moist, much more moist than Michael Bublé's voice that's playing in the background. And the cream cheese frosting that's layered in between the carrot cakes and on top, it's not dense. My pet peeve with a lot of carrot cakes is that the cream cheese is sometimes overpowering, that like you can't taste the flavor of the carrot. And the little bits of walnut that you get adds a nice textural crunch. It's really light and fluffy and moist. And all the ceramics are so like carrot themed. Like the whole cafe has so much like carrot artwork and stuffed animals, and you can even get some like carrot earrings and headbands. It's very cute. They really went full on with the theme, and I love that. These little small independent cafes are where you should be going to, not Starbucks. Come on, like you're in Jeju Island. Are you really gonna go somewhere that you know, or somewhere where it's gonna be unique? And here I have the carrot latte with the cut out caramelized carrot on top. That's a flower petal shape. I'm gonna taste those first. So it's carrots simmered in syrup, soft, but also a little chewy from the drying process. That was really nice. Carrot latte, very, very good. But to me, the taste of dairy and the carrot kind of like amalgamate together. If you're trying to decide between the two drinks, I would definitely recommend the cold pressed carrot juice to be able to really taste the essence of the carrots. But nonetheless, incredibly delicious. I'm gonna move on to our little petite fours or petite tres. Do you see like the little carrot jam on top? So it's julienne thin and simmered in sweet syrup, and beneath it is a whole grain muffin. I almost get a little bit of citrus note at the end, and the muffins are so moist and light, and you know it when you pick it up because it's like it barely like weighs anything. It's so airy and light and fluffy. And the carrot jam on top, you know, like orange jam has a little bit of that bright citrusy lightness. That's really good. What's left is the carrot soup, and you can see all the fibers. Delicious, very light and healthy tasting, and it's not like super heavily like dairy flavored, which I like. And you can taste the carrot much better in the soup. Delicious. It just shows how versatile carrots are. I feel like it's such an underappreciated pantry item for a lot of people that you just put into bolognese, but it stands so amazing on its own. And especially if it's good quality carrots from Jeju Island especially, and more specifically in Kuja. And it's amazing that the couple here operates the farm and harvests all the carrots themselves. So that amount of dedication to create a carrot cafe is mind-blowing. And you need to come here and try it. Like, it's really, really special, and they're so hospitable as well. Honestly, we're only going to like 10 out of 10s in Jeju on this trip, like all the places. I hope you understand. It's not just like Jeju food, it's the best of Jeju food that we're covering. And this place, true hidden gem, you're not gonna regret traveling a little bit far, finding these places that's a little bit harder to get to, but will have the best food. 저희 통갈치구이 조림 세트 4인 주시면 될 것 같아요. 네, 감사합니다.
고등어구이랑 제주 옥동구이고요. 쟤는 여기 같이 나온 속젓이라고 주시면
Like the main star of the show hasn't even showed up yet, and we still have this amazing array of banchans. This is like only the start. This is Korean appetizer at its best. So we have some grilled mackerel that's been filleted on the side, and look how crispy the skin is. I love it when the skin puffs up, kind of like Neapolitan pizza. You know, it's a good sign that the mackerel has been grilled under very, very high temperature, under usually like a salamander, and it just puffs up. So here we have a Jeju specialty fish called Doldam, and it's rockfish in English. And what they do is usually salt it and let it kind of dry out so that some of the moisture evaporates out, and it can also keep for longer. And then fried. We have some pickled onions, kimchi jeon, kimchi, obviously. And in the center of it, we have cutlass fish sashimi. I've never had cutlass fish sashimi before, and it's only possible when it's extremely fresh. I mean, when you have the source like literally like less than a kilometer away from the ocean, this is the only way you can have it served fresh and raw. And next to it is 갈치 속젓, so it's using the innards of the cutlass fish, the intestines, salting it heavily and making a fish sauce paste. And over it are some thinly sliced green peppers. We also have some marinated raw crabs, gejang, with a little bit of lemon, very interesting, with some spinach namu. And also this one is minari, onion, and carrot chomuchim. And here on the stone plate are butter grilled abalone. It smells amazing, and you can see how well caramelized it is. And inside, when you're done with it, you see that shiny part. So that is mother of pearl, which a lot of Korean accessories and jewelry boxes are decorated with. I've never had raw fish with fish sauce before, so this is really interesting. And it's a very Jeju thing to have fish sauce and raw fish together. Very interesting texture. The film on the outside is quite hard to chew, but I think it's like more of a texture thing. I think if I grew up eating it, I would have liked it, but it's my first time trying cutlass fish raw, and it's a huge flex to be able to serve this raw because cutlass fish is also very difficult to preserve, very fresh, and it's a delicacy that's only available in Jeju because of the freshness. Sorry, and the proximity to the sea. I ate all of the chili pepper. I don't know if you saw. Not my favorite, but interesting nonetheless. So this is like the inner part of the abalone, and that's where all the fat is and the poop. So soft, buttery, not tough at all. Absolutely delicious. For those who've never tried abalone before, it tastes like if scallop went to school, graduated from technical college, and then started working. So it matures and develops flavor. That's what it tastes like. You know what I mean? And the mackerel, and the skin is so crispy and oily too. Look how it's just so shiny. Oily, fatty, and the skin just like is so crispy, it shatters in your mouth. It's amazing. And for the fried rockfish, see what I mean by like the texture is kind of similar to chicken? Literally tastes like fried chicken. I kid you not. You'll understand what I'm talking about when you taste it. Delicious. Sweet and sour to balance out some of the fried flavors. Very nice also. Wow! Yeah.
뱃살 쪽에는
네.
장아찌 많이.
Dude, the technique. Quoting the words of Migos is really about the flick of the wrist. Honestly, I've never seen fish filleted with a single spoon and chopsticks so dexterously. So he removes the spine of the bone first, and then the vertebrae, and there's some bones on the bottom side as well. And what he does is kind of like slice it in the middle and then remove some of the meat so that you don't get all the finer bones while you eat. It's no joke getting one of these punctured in your asparagus. You gotta be careful. Wow. And to be able to whole grill a cutlass fish like this, like I wonder how big their ovens are. This is actually crazy. It's really like peering into my soul. And like even look at the teeth. You know, I feel like this is like the modern day dinosaur that we're eating whole. almost milky. And look how it's so steamy. It's almost like the consistency of tofu. I'm gonna put it on top of my rice. Wasabi on top. It tastes like eel, but better. So delicate, yet so fatty. It just completely disintegrates in your mouth when you put it in. It's soft and pillowy. Very, very good. We also get some seaweed soup. Very good. This is the cutlass fish braised that's very commonly eaten in Jeju. Inside is onions, leeks, gochugaru, which is Korean red chili flakes, and using the stock from the cutlass fish as well. And you braise it on high heat, and the fish is gonna just completely be soft. This is what I call Jeju in a bite. Very good. It's so tender, and the sauce is really good. On a nice summer day like this, it's a crime to not have some ice cream, or in this case, some artisanal gelato representing the flavors of Jeju. I think that's a famous quote from Socrates, I'm pretty sure. Trust me, I studied food science. Personally, there's 2 gelato places in Korea that I love, and when it comes to gelato, I'm a little picky. There's some requirements that has to be made. Number 1, I do not want to see the gelato. It needs to be hidden. Number 2, it needs to be delicious and representing local seasonal flavors, because I don't want to have the same selection every time. So for me, it's important to have a current rotation of options available. I've been coming to this gelato place for almost 3-4 years now, I want to say. It's become one of the places where I come to each time I come to Jeju, because they have different flavors depending on the season and what is local in produce. Okay. Remember the qualifications that I told you about? That I wanted the gelato to be hidden and not seen? Well, that's because the more oxygen that the gelato gets in contact with, the more it means that it has stabilizers. And stabilizers means less of the local ingredients, and we don't want that. We want to taste the real deal, not artificial fixers. I want to start with the chocolate. I feel like chocolate gelato is a really good indication of how good a gelato place is. It's really all about the mouthfeel. Like, it's so light and airy and so creamy. When he was scooping up the gelato, it was almost like stringy and stretchy. That's exactly what you want to look for in gelato. White Temple milk tea, nice and floral and aromatic. And on the side, macadamia, salted macadamia. It's so, so good. The Jeju lemon and the strawberry. And he was saying that there's lemons grown in Jeju all the way from winter to right before summer. And this is a sorbet made using Jeju lemons. I like that. I feel like lemon sorbet should be this acidic. Like, I don't want it to be overly sweet. I really want that punch of acidity. If I was having this in a summer day by the beach, I would be absolutely going feral over this. I'm still really loving it. And this one is the Jeju strawberry. And you can see the specks of strawberry embedded within the sorbet. And look at the granules. You really don't want big ice particles when you're making gelato. It's really about making sure that every particle is fine in order to have that long, stretchy texture. Because ice cream, like toothpaste, should be non-Newtonian in the sense that it should not be frozen. It shouldn't be rock hard. It shouldn't be something that you have to thaw out. It should have the consistency of toothpaste, neither liquid nor solid. So good. And the combination of the two is so great too. And on top is the salted milk gelato using Jeju milk. If you want to try a very specific flavor, you need to let them know also 3 days in advance, because that's how long it takes for a gelato to be made. The yellow melon one, very nice. A little cucumbery though, but as a certified hater of cucumber, I'm a little that's too close to the sun, but still very nice and fruity. You get that nice melon flavor coming through. The thing is, all these gelatos aren't too sweet, and you really taste the ingredient flavor. And this one is the rice one. Rice gelato is very popular in Italy as well. And what's amazing about the rice gelato here is that you can really get the individual granules. So the more you bite into it, you get these small pops of hard rice that you chew through, but it's not to a point where it's raw rice. It's cooked rice, but just al dente so that it creates a nice texture along with that nice stretchy gelato. The combination is fantastic. The al dente rice, that's what really makes this special. And for dinner, we're gonna have seafood again, and we're gonna get a plate of uni, and it's actually super cheap here and gonna be the freshest Jeju uni. Let's go eat. Super cute. Oh, and look who we have as a little guest again. Mi madre. 저희 성게애빠져 하나랑 성게 비빔밥이랑 미역국으로 먼저 일단 시작할게요. 네, 감사합니다. Oh, looks good. Oh, oh, oh. 어머. 감사합니다. 감사합니다. Imagine getting this at Nobu. Do you know how much this would cost at Nobu? Here is only like $50 for a huge portion of sea urchin. And look at the quality. It looks so nice. Let's go over some of the banchans. I love explaining all the banchans in this video because all of it is so different for each location. So here we have our kelp muchim in vinegar, onions, and cucumbers. We have some seaweed, some cucumbers, more kelp, a bed of uni, like a thick layer of uni with the perilla leaf on the side, pepper leaf namu dressed in wild perilla powder. We have some ferns, which is also another Jeju specialty that's been boiled and dressed in sesame oil and some onions. And we have some boiled cabbage and paprika and some samjang on the side. Oh, this looks so good. This looks so good. And we get these like little spoons just for the uni. And the way that I was told to eat it, you want to get a layer of seaweed, a big spoonful of the uni, a little bit of the kelp, and some cucumbers, but I don't eat cucumbers. That's the one thing I don't eat. I'm sorry. I will eat anything but cucumbers. So mine's gonna look like this. Roll it up, dip it in our chojang. Uni is one of my favorite foods, and there's really not that many chances I get to eat it because it's so expensive. It's also very hard to find. Sometimes I get the frozen versions once in a while when it's a special day, but this much uni, like this, wow, 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 wow. I don't know if you can sense my excitement. I think you can, but holy smokes. Oh, holy smokes. Holy smokes. Look, all this uni, all for me. All for me. I'm eating uni like oatmeal right now. This is really uni believable. Holy smokes. 아, 네. 감사합니다. 너무 맛있어요. 오, 감사합니다. 네, 감사합니다. I'm sure you guys know what bibimbap is. The components of the bibimbap for this one is wildly different. We have some onions, some kelp, carrots, perilla leaves, cabbage, and cucumbers, masago on top, and this beautiful ladle of uni and sesame oil and sesame seeds sprinkled on top. I feel bad that I don't eat cucumber. But I cannot. You know, just listening from the flavor profile of cucumbers, like I get it. Like it's definitely something that I wish and should like, but I can't. I don't know why. It's an illness. It's like how some people can't do coriander. I love coriander. I eat everything. I really do, but just not cucumbers. Wow. I've never had uni bibimbap with so much uni before. And if that wasn't enough uni, I'm gonna top it off with a little bit more on top. 안녕하세요. Back to our bite. Oh my gosh, it's sweet. The combination of the kelp and the perilla and all the vegetables with the creamy uni. The uni really almost acts as like a binding agent to really tie everything together. Like the coldness and like the sesame oil on top, and the unis that put on top here is actually marinated with some soy sauce and sesame oil, which is why you don't need any additional sauce on top. Really topping it off with that additional uni. Look at this. This alone would be like $30 a piece if you go to any other sushi restaurant in New York City. Fun fact, uni is actually the testicles of sea urchin. And I've never had testicles that taste this good. Every meal was like, oh my god, this is definitely like my top favorite. This is my favorite, this is my favorite. But this, ending on this plate of Jeju uni, and the bibimbap and the soup also, this is definitely the highlight of my Jeju trip. The depth of flavor that comes from this is insane. The uni, it really clarifies the stock. You get this really briny, ocean flavored stock, and it's light, it's not heavy at all. And the seaweed soup, this is a dish that a lot of women, when they're pregnant, eat because seaweed has naturally a lot of DHA, which is great for the brain's development for children. Uni and seaweed are known to like detoxify the blood. It's really great for people who are feeling bloated. It's like home remedy to have it when you're not feeling the best. This really makes up for everything. And the Jeju pale ale on the side that's brewed here on this island. I really couldn't have asked for a better trip. I feel like we've covered so many different foods. We've covered pork, a bunch of seafood, cutlass fish, mackerel. Jeju is really a place with so much amazing produce. I cannot stress the importance of how proud people are of their cuisine and their ingredients, and it really shines through in the way they interact and also the food that they serve. It's been an amazing experience for me to revisit Jeju after so many years and to see it in the light of food and to experience it focusing on local cuisine. If you're watching this video trying to decide whether it's worth it to come down to Jeju for a little trip, I would say 1000%. You're really missing out if you don't see Jeju, and it's only an hour ride from Seoul, so if you're ever coming to Korea, I cannot stress how important it is for you to see this beautiful island and the amazing cuisine and the people that it has to offer. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye, doobies! Mm.